What's happening, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more punk rock, and we're back with some Rise Against, or I should say we're starting with some Rise Against. I've mentioned them in a couple other videos, especially when I reacted to an 88 Fingers Louie tune, because I mentioned the origins of the band Rise Against have to do somewhat with the dissolution of 88 Fingers Louie. Two of the members then joined Rise Against, one of which has remained in the band the whole time. I think the other one, Mr. Precision, eventually left the band, and he's now back in 88 Fingers Louie. But I became a big fan of Rise Against because I sort of found out who they were and followed them after being into 88 Fingers Louie for a few years when I was in high school. And I really enjoyed their sound, I really enjoyed their messages, I just thought it had a really cool sort of, it was a more modern style of punk rock, certainly, it doesn't sound like early 80s punk rock, but hey, I got room for different walkways of punk in my brain. And so I really enjoyed their sound, and fair to say, Tim McIlrath, the more I learned about him, the more I found him to be a very admirable person. I do very much enjoy, his on-stage sort of persona. I saw them open for Anti-Flag. What a show, right? It was Rise Against and Anti-Flag at the House of Blues in Anaheim. What a great show. And I remember it was the first time I had seen Rise Against. By this point, I think they had come out with their second album, The Revolutions Per Minute, but they did play songs from both albums, I believe. Nevertheless, he would do this thing where, like, as a verse he was about to sing would approach, he'd be like swinging the mic around, and then right at the last second he would like pull the mic tight and like start singing right as the verse began. He obviously like had worked on some stage things. It was really cool, and I mentioned it before, no matter what kind of music it is, whether you're a DJ spinning techno, or whether you're a soloist playing a piano concerto, or indeed whether you're a punk rock singer, adding a bit of interaction with the crowd, a bit of showmanship, really can make a difference for people listening and watching. So shout out to him for doing that. Nevertheless, we're going to listen to a tune called Alive and Well from their first album, which is called The Unraveling. It's up on my wall here, but I had to get a second copy. But here's a weird thing. I have two copies of this album because the first disc got a little scratched. The reason it got scratched is because the inner CD teeth, the thing that holds it in place, had broken. So I got a new copy. Wouldn't you know, the teeth are also broken. That's how it arrived. So I don't know if this was like a design flaw of this particular release, the way it was like packaged together. I don't know, or it's just the craziest coincidence that both of my copies of this have had like damage to the inner CD tray. Nevertheless, this is the opening CD from them. That's Tim's face on the front. Shout out to him. Shout out to this album. It's on Fat Records, Fat number 628-2. What year is this? Is this 01? Doesn't say right here. I'll look it up in a moment. This is the full band. Mr. Precision is the guy with long hair. The guy to his, our right, I think, yeah, his left, that's Dan Principe, who I believe is still in the band. Dan Principe, Joe Principe. Dan is the name of Mr. Precision. Let me just keep these names separate, apologies. But yeah, Joe Principe, who is still in the band. Nevertheless, we're going to listen to a tune called Alive and Well. The lyrics in this one, they're a bit opaque to me, but as far as I can tell, or at least my interpretation, is that he's talking about I'm not just gonna sit and be angry and, man, the world sucks so much, I wish we could just burn it all down, whatever. Saying, no, if you have that feeling, well then do something. Get out there and make a positive change. You are alive and well. You're in that brief moment where you're in the sun, where you're actually alive. We mortal creatures die very easily. We don't live all that long in the grand scheme of things. So you have a limited time to make an impact, and so instead of just being in your head, go out into the world, try to do something while you are alive and well. And then, the worst things that are happening, at least you won't be responsible for them. You tried to do something. You tried to get off this moving train, so to speak. Whereas if you just sit there and say, oh, it's all so terrible, but then you just kind of go along with the systems and the sort of status quo, then ultimately the worst things that happen, that on some level, you have enabled them by just basically being passive and accepting them. So I think that's sort of what it's about. But again, the lyrics in this one, they seem a bit more sort of, analogical or metaphorical or figurative. So Maybe some people will have a different take. Let me know if you do. I don't claim to be definitive in any of my analyses or interpretations. It's just the way that lyrics hit my brain. But that's the way I've taken this song. I really do like the music. It's fast, it's energetic, which of course fits with sort of the idea that like, hey, carpe diem, like do something while we're alive and while you want to make a positive impact and, improve people's lives and so on. So the music really fits with the lyrics, and I always love when that happens. And I must mention at the very beginning, there's a sample. I believe it's from what is the Cable Guy, and I believe it's Jack Black from the Cable Guy saying, "Are you ready to rock?" I can sort of like imagine what he looks like in that scene. Nevertheless, here we go. This is Rise Against from the Unraveling. Let me just check the year. 2001. So this is a 2001 album. That's right about when I thought it was. So here we go. Rise Against the Unraveling with a little cameo at the beginning by Jack Black.
Are you ready to rock?
I love like stop moments and then like hit it back in hard. I like it in techno. I like it in punk rock. It's precision. It's like we've got our shit on point. Oh, the bass. I've heard this, 100 times, so I got goosebumps. Again, I'm not sure who you is, but maybe you are the people who like bitch and complain but then don't do anything. He can scream. He's a screamer. Me neither, man. Always trying to get better, always trying to make an impact. I live to be alive and I live to always strive. Don't need to explain myself to you. Yeah, it's fantastic. I really like it. There was a line in there, I think, about like, you have to endure stares and so on, like, oh, this young person, what are you trying to do? You're trying to like change the world. You'll learn better. You'll know better. So maybe that's sort of what that line at the end was about. Again, let me know if you have a different interpretation or if just a more elaborate and detailed interpretation. I'd love to hear it. Like I said, I'm a big fan of the band. I really like their first two albums. I like all their stuff. I've got stuff going. Here's Siren Song of the Counterculture. That was like a decade later. I want to say that's like 2010, maybe something like that. So I have several of their albums, but I do think that the Unraveling and Revolutions Per Minute, which is up there, I do think those two are still maybe my favorite. Just really made a big impact on me when they came in. And again, I think Revolutions Per Minute might be my all-time favorite from them. I like the Unraveling a lot, but Revolutions Per Minute sort of takes some of these themes to even more like detailed or nuanced places. The impassioned like morals and pleas for like action, I think, are more acute. So I really do like that album. We'll definitely come back for some tunes on there. But there's another really cool tune on this one that I definitely want to react to. It has sort of like a different kind of like slower sort of vibe, but it's like still rocking. So yeah, there's more Rise Against coming. Let me know if you have a tune from them that you'd like to hear reacted to, especially from the first couple albums. I'd really like to start there. But if it's something later, don't hesitate to shout it out. And again, don't hesitate to shout out any request. Anything you see back here especially, of course, but go to my Discogs collection, which is linked on the main page here, one of the record icons, Mr. Tom Servo. You can go through my punk rock collection and just see if there's anything that jumps out to you, or indeed any of my other folders. I have organized the collection. It's not always perfect. I'm always in the process of updating it with new things that I've gotten. There's been a couple cases where I had something and then I couldn't find it and eventually had to remove it from my Discogs collection. So it's always a work in progress, but it is basically what I have, and so you could go through that, pick anything you want. Let me know if you'd like to hear it reacted to. Other than that, I really do appreciate the people watching and listening. Have a great day, have a good night. I'll see you next time.